Now we have Irina Tsukerman joining us on the broadcast, who is a U.S. human rights and national security lawyer and also a journalist. Irina, how do you see this current situation in Israel? It looks like a long-drawn war.
It may indeed turn into a multi-front and long-term war because, unfortunately, we are facing a situation that is far more complicated than a mere terrorist attack. This was a well-planned, organized act of war by a well-trained army. Hamas is no longer the militia, a terrorist organization it once was 10, 20 years ago. It has the backing of state actors, and there is clear signs of coordination, of long-term planning, and of specific agendas that are intended to draw Israel into a long-term confrontation. I think Hamas is well aware that Israel would have no choice but engage in heavy retaliation in response to such an attack, and they were counting on that. The propaganda value of this attack for them is infinitely greater than any damage that they may suffer, because that would not be the first time for them. But in this case, they had the impact of shattering Israel's image as invincible, as having an invincible intelligence that predicts these moves long before they happen. And that's the propaganda value to disrupt any efforts to advance peace in the region, to integrate with its neighbors, to be seen as a strong partner and an asset to other countries. And it's to promote the propaganda value of state actors backing Hamas, including Iran, but not only.
Also, Irina, so BBC is clearly reporting that Iran backed Hamas in these attacks. Have you heard anything on that?
Well, shortly before this happened, Iran openly threatened the neighborhood. It threatened Arab countries not to advance any efforts at normalization with Israel. Hamas delegations have been openly coming to Iran, and Hamas spokesperson on BBC thanked Iran for its support in carrying with this particular attack and possible attacks elsewhere. Moreover, Iran has been receiving weapons from Iran, and Iran has been actively engaged in the development of these weapons that have been used in other conflicts, including in Ukraine.
Also, Irina, with Taliban threats coming on conquer Jerusalem, what are the threats on escalation?
Just now, there was an attack by Hezbollah, which had previously threatened to engage in a second front in the event that Israeli ground troops enter Gaza. They did not wait for the final Israeli decision on how to handle the rest of this response to the attacks. Instead, it fired rockets and took credit for that. UNIFIL has tried to contain the situation from escalating to a full-fledged exchange of fire and a full-fledged combat, but Hezbollah has a significant advantage in this respect because it has over 150,000 or even more long-range missiles in its possessions that are not easy to remove, that it can fire inside Israel from the north. But that is unfortunately not the only threat. There is also a threat of Iraqi militias, which has previously attacked Israel. There is a presence of Iran-backed proxies in Syria, and even Houthis in Yemen have previously promised to cooperate with Hamas, and Taliban has recently engaged with Iran, reportedly to receive permission to travel to join Hamas against Israel.
Right. Irina, also, since you are an advocate of human rights, Hamas has released videos that are seen as war crimes. What sanctions do you think it can attract?
Hamas is an expert in propaganda. It follows the same pathway as ISIS and various other terrorist organizations. It has been taught well by its mentors in Iran and Russia, who have invented the black arts of disinformation and manipulation of imagery to maximum effect. Hamas is known for holding civilians hostage and using them as human shields, including in particular children, and for recruiting child soldiers who are then used to the maximum advantage to create terrible optics and to create outrage around the world, especially in parts of the world where information from Israel and from more neutral sources does not penetrate. So Hamas shapes public opinion, it plays on bigotry, it plays on ignorance, it plays on emotions, and it manipulates everything to its advantage with the help of state backers in a very sophisticated way.
Right. Also, power was cut off last evening in the Gaza Strip. What exactly is the Israeli government doing to ensure safety of the people?
Israel has taken measures to, it has called for a state of emergency inside Israel. It has mobilized all forces for their protection, and it is now discussing the formation of a national unity and emergency government, bringing the coalition of the current government with the opposition to jointly administer all necessary resources, communications and security measures, and to avoid any polarization and divisions in order to address all humanitarian as well as security issues. All the hospitals have been fully opened up. And in fact, Israel has also succeeded in securing the vast majority of the hostages that were held inside Israel proper. So it has very efficiently and quickly started acting once it fully engaged on the ground.
All right, Irina, thank you so much for speaking to CNN News 18 and putting things into perspective.